There's something I like to talk about. I call it the blindness of blame. Blindness in terms of the eyes of our heart. And the blindness of blame is when you focus on what other people have done as an excuse for why you have done what you've done, or why you're not doing what you should be doing. Well, I didn't do it because they did this to me. There are people who sit outside church, they don't go to church anymore, and they say, well, I'm out of fellowship, and I'm out from under authority, and I'm living a separate Christian life because of those people, because of what they did. Well, when they stand before Jesus and they try that, they're in for a shock, because he won't let them go off into blame. He'll say, no, what's that between you and me? What's that between what I called you to do? And but there's this tendency that the eyes of our heart goes negative and starts looking for blame, to place blame on other people for what's happened to us. And it comes out in our counseling. If you sat through long periods of counseling, they'll talk about your parents, they'll talk about the people who are there in the formation of your life, to try to figure out why you are the way you are. Well, and this is certainly spilled over in the Christian counseling. I hear it. People sit down, they say, you are the way you are because of your parents. And they conclude, well, your parents were goofed up. Well, and the reason your parents were goofed up is because their parents were goofed up. The reason their parents were goofed up is because their parents were goofed up. So you're goofed up because it goes back into your genealogy. And so we start looking for generational curses. There are people who look for, that some ancestor may have been a dark, negative person. Maybe was a Mason, or some kind of something that's off, and that excuses all of our behavior. It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense. It's your eyes are getting misled. The eyes of your heart, your focus is getting off. So you find out that your grandparents were goofed up, and that's the reason you're goofed up. Now what? Now that you know that, now that you've placed blame on them, what difference does that make? Now you know that your grandparents and their parents were goofed up. Actually, their parents were goofed up, and if they trace it back, it all goes back to two people in the garden. And the one says, the woman made me do it. The woman you gave me made me do what I did. And so he placed blame. And she's standing there, she's shocked that it happened, she's feeling death and working, and she says, the devil made me do it. So then you find out that the devil's a bad guy, and that he did stuff to you. Well, welcome to the human race. I mean, right back to our first parents, it all goes back to the devil. Now that you know that the devil did it, then what? What difference does it really make? What are you going to do about it? So you need to get your eyes off of blame to get your eyes on how to get out of this thing, how to get your eyes on the Creator, who gives you creative ideas and creative solutions to show you how to navigate your way out of this thing. Well, if your eyes are just locked in on blame, they'll become blind to the possibilities of getting out of it. You won't have eyes focused on seeing a way out, because you're just locked on blame. You become blind. There's a guy named Robert Anthony, and this is a quote I found. It says, when you blame others, you give up the power to change. When you blame others, you give up the power to change. There's a guy named Wayne Dyer. He's a life coach. I don't subscribe to either of these guys, and I really don't know much about them, but their quotes interest me. Wayne Dyer, he says, all blame is a waste of time. No matter how much fault you find in another, and regardless of how much you blame him, it will not change you. The only thing blame does is keep the focus off you, and when you're looking for an external reason to explain your unhappiness or frustration, you may succeed in making the other feel guilty about something by blaming him, but you won't succeed in changing whatever it is about you that's making you unhappy. Isn't that interesting? That you won't become fruitful, you won't become satisfied, you won't become fulfilled by blaming other people. It never works that way. There's a blindness that sets in. It causes you to forfeit the grace that you need to change. And I hear it all the time. I'll see people who are just a vacant lot. Nothing's growing. They're a couch potato. There's nothing going. They have theology, and they're critical of other people's theology. They think that's the thing, is to find perfect theology. And they don't go anywhere, they don't do anything. And when you press them and say, how come you're not going anywhere? They say, well, these people did this to me. And they become parked. The reason is they forfeited the grace to change because their eyes are locked on to what they did. It's so unlike Jesus. Jesus forgave those who who did things to him. He released them, and his focus was on bringing salvation to other people. He didn't let what other people did. I mean, his denomination did him wrong. His own brothers did him wrong. His family said he was crazy. They said he was beside himself. But he didn't stay focused on that. He had a mission. He had a mandate. And I think that's the healthy way to live. The fact is, all of us have been abused in some way. The fact is, somebody has done something wrong to all of us. What difference does it make now? What are you going to do? How are you going to recover? What's the focus of your eyes? That's the issue. You can get locked in the blindness of blame, or you can look for creative solutions to get out, move forward. Amen? Amen.